All right, everyone, I hope you're strapped in. Today we are doing another session of my catching up on things that everyone was very excited about last year. Alambique Serrano, which I always want to say is Alambique. My brain keeps thinking it's French. So PM Spirits, the importer, very kindly sent me their first 4 releases, which I reviewed, and I was very impressed by because there wasn't a whole lot of super duper good aged Mexican cane juice rum, which is what it was. And then the releases just kept on coming, and I sort of checked out because there was just too many of them to keep track of. I did review the Cartier 30 because it was kind of the big brother of Cañada, which I absolutely adored. But beyond that, I haven't really touched them since. So we're going to do it today. I am all set up. Let's get these poured. Okay, so 2 blends and how to explain this? 3 casks that's actually 4 bottlings. We'll get to it. All right, let's get to pouring. Okay, so the Krassel family really kind of broke into the U.S. market with Cañada, also known as My Jam. It is still one of my absolute favorite Mexican cane juice rums. It's just wonderful stuff. And this is kind of PM Spirits getting a hold of them and basically doing an aged program. That being said, Cañada was only made on their continuous still, what they call a Krassel still. It's their own design. More recently, they've gotten some smaller pot stills, and so all of this mix of column still, pot still, different barrels. They've kind of went nuts. And one day, maybe they'll have like a more stable product lineup. But right now, it's all about experimentation, single casks, small blends, which, I kind of find it kind of overwhelming, but it's super, super, super cool. And the other thing is, at the end of last year, I did a little private blind tasting competition. And the last one, which I didn't win, by the way. I was like somewhere in the middle, and I was thankful to get that. But the last thing we tasted was something I thought was like an aged gin, because it was throwing crazy amounts of botanicals at me. And then when it was unveiled, it turned out to be an Alambique Serrano. And I thought, I should really, really dive into my, my collection of samples of this stuff. Okay, I've been yammering for 3 minutes. Let's get to tasting. So basically, I'm going to do the first 2 blends and then the casks, single casks. We're sort of going up in order of ABV, pretty much. That is not the same as the order of releases, so it might get a little bit confusing. Anyways, let's start with blend number 4, also nicknamed Tres Maderas. Now, these 2 blends are very complicated. I'm going to break them down for you, but really just refer to the notes. So the top line on this is 41% pot distilled cane juice, aged 21 months in a fresh acacia barrel. So not oak, this is acacia. The rest is, I made notes, 38% column still aged in ex-Cognacs, French oak, 21% column still aged in ex-vino generoso, which is basically fortified wine of various sorts. That's an American oak casks. 15.9% ABV. Yeah, I totally understand why picking one of these up, I would have said, it smells like a gin. Because there is kind of an alpine sensibility to this. So peppermint, a little bit of... it reminds me a little bit of Braulio, actually. The Amaro, my favorite pet Amaro. Yeah, like peppermint. There's some like Douglas fir kind of in the background a little bit. Black pepper. Touches of vanilla. Some kind of fruit. What is that? Almost like a fig or a fig mulberry mix, like a mulberry fig jam. Quite a lot of cinnamon. Almost like a Amaro tree bark kind of thing. Aromatic bark. It's very, high-toned, as we would say in wine. Handed me this neat, and I'm thinking aged gin, maybe like Amaro vermouth, something more like that than just straight up, aged cane juice rum. On the palate. Oh, it's good. For something that's, most of it is way less than 2 years old. This just has such a journey in the mouth. Similar kinds of notes. Cinnamon stick. Mint of various kinds. Maybe more spearmint now, but also like just straight up Tic Tacs. The white Tic Tacs. Tree bark. Again, very Amaro-like. That little gesture towards Douglas fir needles. Black pepper. It's almost like a pine sap thing as well. That kind of like mulberry fig jam kind of thing is still there. Cinnamon, minty stuff. Tree bark. Yeah, again, very Amaro-like. Very, like, you tell me this is an Amaro from northern Italy that's just, like, really, really high strength. I'm going to believe you, because that's pretty much what it tastes like. But no, it's cane juice rum. So I'm going to give this a couple squirts of water. I'll come back to it. Don't run out of water. It'll take 5, right? Incidentally, these 4 samples were sent by the PM Spirits folks. Thank you very much, guys. And then these 2 I procured on my own. All right, moving on. Make a little note. Okay, now on to the blend number 3. I know we just did number 4. I told you it would get confusing. All right, the top line on this is that about 32% of it was aged 6 months in an ex-Mezcal cask, which could get interesting. 27% that's pot still distillate. Another 27% pot still distillate aged in 19 months in new French oak. But there's more French oak coming up. Another 23% was aged 17 months in new French oak and then in demijohns for a little while. 21% from column still aged in ex-bourbon casks. So quite a little blend here. 63.4% alcohol by volume. Much more restrained on the nose. I am getting some kind of like burned figs. There's some what is that? I want to say vanilla ice cream, but the vanilla, or like chocolate chip, but the vanilla part of the chocolate chip ice cream is very subdued. It's more like ice creaminess in general with some chocolate chips thrown in there. Prunes, figs, but like a distinct burned ashtray kind of note, but nice. Black pepper. Yeah, definitely on the nose, much more subdued than the previous blend, or the blend after this. Oh, this one is named Matadiablo. I'm looking for Mezcal in the nose of this, but no, it's relatively muted, honestly. There's some more alpine-y stuff coming in, a little bit more like fresh mint kind of stuff. Chocolate chips, ash, pepper, maybe some little like chopped up furniture. So like you took an old Parisian bench and you set it half on fire and then smelled it. There's a little bit of that. It's kind of all I'm getting. It's not as expressive on the nose as the blend 3 on the palate. Palate is a different story. Now the the vanilla ice cream is really coming out, along with a lot of pleasant ashtray notes. That Parisian burned bench thing is in there. But there's also some dried apricot in here, which is fun. And some fennel, little Tootsie Roll. Even an olive or two. So we're sort of gesturing a little bit more towards rum in this with this example. Still got that minty thing. Cinnamon spice, cinnamon pepper. I think I might have preferred the previous glass by just a hair, especially on the nose. But this is very good. We'll give that some water. Come back to it. 4, 5. We might get up to 6 with this. Give it like not even half a squirt more. Let's just give it a little ding. And we're moving on. All right, this is, where am I in my list? 14. Single cask 14. Alambique Serrano. This was aged. Yeah, this is column distilled. This is the Krassel still. And I should have broken these up because it's just a big wall of text on my screen right now. Aged 24 months in an ex-bourbon cask, which is just about as simple as these things get. So I think I did an ex-bourbon single cask Alambique before, so I kind of know what to expect. Yep. Oh no, this is actually better than the one I had, I think. Well, give me a second. So, what I was expecting, and it isn't really happening here, though, was that the American oak was just the bourbon, ex-bourbon cask would just kind of swamp the distillate, and I'd just be smelling a lot of vanilla stuff. But no. It feels like this has had enough time to really kind of reassert itself. So, yeah, there's vanilla there. There's little gestures toward dried cherry. But beyond that, there's a lot of that kind of alpine vibe that this stuff tends to bring. Some dried mint, specifically dried mint, like it comes in the big packages that you buy in the Middle Eastern grocery stores. It's a little bit floral, actually. It's more floral than the previous classes. Certainly a little bit of more of a kind of tree sap kind of thing, an evergreen kind of character. Less peppery. Some caramel. Sea salt. Black licorice. It's just it's a nice nose. It's not a challenging nose. It's a comforting nose. And it smells, well, it doesn't smell like an Amaro, unlike the previous two classes. On the palate, oh, I like this. These have all been good so far. Oh, I thought, making my notes, I saw cane juice rum, aged 24 months in ex-bourbon, so American oak. I just kind of suspected it's just going to taste bourbony, and I'm not going to like it. But no. This is delicious. It is the lowest proof of the one so far. It's 55.8. Oh, there's a minerality to this, which is delightful. Just like mixed rocks. There's some soapstone, sandstone going on here, road gravel, salted licorice, vanilla, toffee, caramel. But it's got that kind of not even evergreen sap thing now. It's just a straight up like wood sap, oak sap maybe. I don't know my sap character. It's that kind of like you're climbing the tree in the backyard kind of, and you get some sap in your hand kind of vibe to it. It's that. But then there's some sage, some dried mint. If anything, the development on this, the mouth presence, is even better than the previous two glasses, the blends, which I wasn't expecting. Again, I was expecting this to be the one I would say, skip it. But no, this is delicious. It's really getting back there, tickling my tonsils. It's holding on really well. It's got a nice minerality to it in the mouth. Yeah, I like this. Okay, let's give it some water. We'll come back to it. 2, 3, 4. Little lemon pith creeping in. Just a hair more water. Okay. Moving on. This is 20. Single cask number 20. And this one is pot distilled, 21 months in new French oak, and the proof is 64.4% ABV. And we're back to Amaro. Like it's, yeah. Pine needles, mint, both like freshly picked peppermint, but also a little bit of Tic Tacs. Black pepper, slight florals, not much though. Not the bourbon cask actually had more. Fig, prune. It's kind of like a Hershey's chocolate thing. Not too much, just a little nod in that direction. Cumin. Okay. Yeah, again, this is one less so than the first glass in particular, but hand this to me and tell me it's a high proof Amaro. I'm probably going to believe you on the palate. These are just really good. I mean, you start with good cane, good cane juice, naturally fermented, spontaneous fermentation, and distillation to a lower proof where you're not just strangling life out of it, and you're putting in good casks. It's going to be weird, and this is weird, but it's going to be good. In many ways, cleaner than the blends. The blends are probably the weirdest, grungiest things I've had so far in this lineup. This has a core of like earthy fennel, salted licorice, a little bit of green olive going on. There's some rocks playing on the edges. And it's got the pine needles and the mint and the Tic Tacs and the figs and the chocolate and the prunes and the raisins. But it's pretty darn clean in the way it's delivering what it's got. Oh, I love it. It's more of a Tootsie Roll note on the palate than maybe Hershey's. Are they owned by the same people? They're probably owned by the same people. Gun to my head, and I didn't expect this, but gun to my head, I think in terms of mouth presence, the Krassel Still bourbon cask is actually topping this just a little bit. There's more pepperiness to this. It's definitely like I'm feeling the pepper in the back of my throat here. It's right there. But in terms of like all the other flavors, like this, the bourbon cask just is able to kind of show up just that little bit more. But this is darn good. Okay, 64. What? Oh yeah, I keep forgetting to name the percentages. This is 64.4%. So we're not. I had one of the first releases was like 70 something. This is not that. But these are pretty strong. Just a little more. Okay. All right. And now for the confusing one. These two casks, these two single casks. Well, this cask, was dumped twice. Okay? So they dumped half of it after 14 months. And the other half, they dumped after, 23? 23 months. So it's one cask dumped twice at different aging points. This is an aficionado selection. It's single cask number 3. And the later one they called 3A. This is the same darn cask. And it is toasted French oak, pot distilled. It's new French oak. And this first one, which I'm going to taste here, is 69.6. And this one lost a little bit of power. It's down to 69. So let's taste these out. It's kind of fun. The one I just tasted is actually right in the middle, but it's a little bit lower proof. So here we go. The 14-month-old, a little bit subdued on the nose. It's not really talking too much. It smells a little bit like a little bit of a dumber version of the previous cask. That I don't say that to be mean. But it's got that kind of minty, pine sappy thing with some chocolate creeping through, like some chocolate chips. Some dustiness, a couple of pebbles. But it's not, coming out from the glass to meet me in the same way that the previous glass was. Black pepper, that kind of chopped up, bench thing is there. Lots of pepper. We're like lots of pepper. We're kind of entering the territory of like numbing Sichuan spice here, a little mala. Okay, on the palate. Melt down some Tootsie Rolls. Sprinkle a little fennel on top. A little torn up fresh peppermint. Some evergreen needles, like Douglas fir needles, and a whole lot of black pepper. Just grind and grind that thing. That is what this tastes like. It's very yummy. Like if you like Tootsie Rolls and you don't like a lot of, you don't mind a lot of botanicals and peppery stuff getting in the way, you will absolutely adore this. It is very nippy. This is 69, almost 70% alcohol, so it's going to be. The problem I'm seeing is the mouth length. Like you can tell this is a little bit younger than some of these others because it's almost all like at my molders or further forward. Like there's a little bit creeping back, but not too much. And it feels a little bit like the cask has maybe, like dumbed down the spirit a little bit. It's not bad. This is absolutely delicious. But for me, for my palate, this might be a touch down below the ones I've tasted so far. I'm going to add some water and we'll come back to it. We're going to be at 6 at this, right? 6. You can go beyond 6. Okay. Let's do a little extra ding. I mean, it sounds like I'm down on this. It's still very good. It's really not that far beyond the others. We're down a couple of a point or two. This is tough on my palate. Most of these are over 60%, and 2 of them are pushing 70. So this is a lot. All right, this is 3A. I'm going to make a note to myself. Hold on. All right, cask 3A, and this is the same cask, given an additional math on camera. It was given a total of 23 months, so an additional 9 months. Thank you. Okay, now okay. Now it's coming along. Now we're getting into Alpine Amaro territory. And I hate to keep lecturing on this because I feel like I do it way too often, but people get the impression that if you leave a spirit in the barrel for a little bit longer, the barrel's just going to swamp it that much more. But in my experience, it doesn't always work like that. Often a little bit more time allows the spirit to reassert itself. So it's actually the other way around. Why is it like that? I don't know. I'm not a chemist, but sometimes it'd be like that. And in this case, it is. Am I still smelling Tootsie Roll? Yes, I am. Am I still smelling French oaky stuff? Fig, prune, chopped up, Parisian benches? Yes, I am. But now the mint and the cinnamon and the salted licorice, the rocks, and the pine sap and the Douglas fir needles, they're all really, really starting to push through, and we are entering the same kind of Amaro territory. I mean, even more so, actually, than, what is this, cask 20? If not more so. Actually, yes, it is more so. You could draw like a linear progression of like Amaro-ness. Just from the aging, and here we are kind of at the peak. And you know what? I like it. I do like it. On the palate, %. Don't play around with this. On the palate, it's a little bit closer to the previous glass, to the regular, cask 3. We're getting a lot more Tootsie Roll. But no, I mean, you are getting the additional flavors. All the Amaro stuff I talked about, even a little bit of tree bark in addition to the pepper and the mint, the cinnamon, all this, the evergreeny stuff, all the stuff I mentioned. And more important to me, maybe, the mouth presence is a little bit better. It's a little bit more coherent. Yeah, this is really pushing back into my tonsils, and I'm happy about that. The tannins, the pepper, all that is maybe like a hair bit more, just a hair bit more, but everything else, the elements from the distillate are hanging on longer than the 14-month-old. So yeah, it's again one of those cases where you leave a thing in the barrel for a little bit longer. It's the spirit that actually comes back rather than the oak swamping it that much longer. Learn this lesson. Learn this lesson, producers. this is better. I prefer this version. And I'm glad they left it in the barrel for a little bit longer. This is a fun comparison. Six. I mean, it's like those experiments in like exercise science where, it's not just, two groups being compared against each other. It's like you have one guy and you have one leg doing like one exercise, another doing another exercise or something, and you're comparing. So you're comparing like the one guy as his own control group. Like it's that kind of thing. And I really dig this kind of split cask kind of deal. Just a hair bit more, just a little bit more. Okay. All right, let's go through these again. I have a clear, like I would say, least favorite, which is the 14-month-old, the 3 no A. But as for an absolute favorite, I don't know. It might be the bourbon cask one, which would be embarrassing. Let's see what happens. All right, back to blend 4. This was the one with the acacia. By far the most crazy nose of this bunch. It does not smell like anything else. Except like Alpine Amaros. So, on your next trip to Davos with your billionaire friends, this is a great bottle to bring along, I guess. Development? There's a little bit of more sweetness coming through. It presents a little bit sweeter now. Otherwise, not a whole lot of development from before. On the palate. Tricky. I feel like the mouth presence improves. Like there's more of a peppery thing, peppery cinnamony thing, like tickling, my cheeks and stuff. But the finish, if anything, feels a little bit clipped now. Same set of flavors. It's very like, it's very, high-toned, as we say in wine. One of the best Amaros I've ever had. Score-wise, I don't know. It loses a little bit for me on the finish, but it gains it back in like mouthfeel. I'm just going to call this a straight 85. 85 points. I like it. 85 for blend number 4. On to the number 3. This was the Mezcal cask. If anything, it's the American oak coming out now. There's a lot more vanilla, like little toffee things. And amazingly, I'm not offended. There's a little bit more minerality here, too, than I remember there being. Sorry, I'm still a little stuffy from a few days ago. Okay. On the palate. That's really interesting because I remember going, on the neat side of things, I kind of preferred blend 4. I really kind of preferred blend 4. especially on the nose, because this was pretty quiet on the nose. But now I think I'm kind of flipped. This one likes water better. There's more toffee. There's a little more caramel stuff, vanilla. Yeah, it's the caramel and vanilla stuff that's actually kicking in and giving this more of a delicious factor. And I like it. I think I like this enough to give it a little bit of a higher score. I'm going to call this an 85 plus. 85 plus for the blend 3. Am I tasting Mezcal cask? I don't know. Not really. Not really, if I'm honest. But it's good. And it likes water, and I think it's better with water. So, not the one I would pick for my trip to Davos, but it's yummy and delicious. So, yeah, there it is. 85 plus. Moving on to, one of my favorites going into this second round, the Single Cask 14, which is the one that was just straight up column distilled, Krassel still, 2 years in oak, in ex-bourbon. It just smells like, it smells like American oak and pine sap, and I just love it. There's an elegance to this nose. The rocks are coming out, it's a melding of this kind of hedonistic notes. The vanillas, the brown sugars, all that stuff from American oak with this incredibly savory, herbaceous, rocky spirit. It's really the rocks that are coming out. If aged Cañada was a thing, I feel like this is what it would smell like, and I'm here for it. On the palate. Oh. Get out of here. So, water has brought out a little bit more sweetness to this. It presents a little bit sweeter again, which is a kind of a running pattern a little bit. But it's also just made the mouth feel so silky and gorgeous. Smooth is one of those words we need to take back. Take it back from the vodka people. They don't deserve it. They don't deserve smooth. They don't deserve silky or, velvety. They don't deserve words like that. This deserves it because this is a high proof, serious spirit, and it feels like it's just massaging my mouth as I drink it, and I absolutely love it. Bourbon cask aged pine sap. And it's terrific. There's a little bit of almost like what is that? A very distant jackfruit. A little bit of jackfruit. Just a little bit. This might win the flight. 87 points. 87 darn points for this single cask 14. And yeah, so I was not a huge fan of the previous American oak aged column distillate from these folks that I tried. It was good. I thought it was a little bit simple. I am absolutely a fan of this. So if you see ones that are this age or older, may want to consider them. Moving on. Single cask 20. We are back at the French oak aged 21 months. I mean, this is really starting to smell like a mutant cognac or something. The flowers are coming out. Raisins. Even a little bit of dried peach or something in there. But very, very chocolatey. There's a lot of like cacao powder. But you've also got the pine needles, the mint, that kind of those markers of pot still Alambique Serrano on the palate. So that's tricky. It's still delicious. It's still delivering like a alpine, minty, cinnamony thing in my mouth, which I appreciate. But the mouth presence falls off a little bit with water. The finish feels a little clipped, and the mouth length kind of like pushes forward a little bit, which is not what I want to see. It's still definitely bringing a yum factor. Do I like this more or less than the blend 4? No, I mean, straight across comparison, this has got a little bit more weight, a little bit more power than the blend 4. But yeah, how do I? Okay. Score-wise, 86 minus. 86 minus for this cask number 20. I think it's good. I liked it better without water. Water kind of throws it off its game a little bit. Not much, but enough that it's really annoying me. Okay, moving on. I am running very short on water here. Cask 3. Not 3A, 3 flat, 14-month-old. Here we go. It smells so much like Tootsie Rolls. I swear to God. Like, if someone made, like, saltwater Tootsie Rolls, that is what this would smell like. It's still very peppery, though. It smells pretty much the same. On the nose, it might have lost a little bit of... It lost more of the distillate. It really smells like Tootsie Roll now. And that's okay. On the palate. So, we fixed the mouth length problem. This is now attacking my tonsils. But water has kind of thrown it off balance at the same time. It's just way too peppery now. Like, I'm trying to enjoy the eau de vie of Tootsie Roll thing happening in my mouth. But then, like, the black pepper is just beating the crap out of me. And I don't think I like it. I mean, it's still very good. I don't want to ding it too much. I'm not going to throw a minus on this because water does fix the length problem. But yeah, I mean, this is, for me, this is an 84. 84 points. It's good. It is not going to win the flight. But what might win the flight is its older brother, Cask 3A, same cask, older. What do we got? I mean, this is competing with the blend 4 for craziest nose here. And it might, with water, it might actually be winning. Yeah, it's very pretty. It's very peppery, but it's just delivering this meld of chocolate and salted licorice and mint and cinnamon and pepper. I mean, it feels... I want to try this first, but so far on the nose, it feels like the best of these French oak pot still bombs from Alambique Serrano of this lot. On the palate, this is the best of these pot distilled French oak bombs from Alambique Serrano. The balance is there. The complexity is there. The mouth presence is there. This is really holding on to my mouth, but without getting like aggressive and angry with me. It feels like it's asserting itself without being violent about it. Terrific. But you can still see like the Tootsie Roll-y aspect from the 14. It's just this is so much better. Yeah, sometimes you just gotta leave it in the cask for longer. I don't know what else to say. Yeah, is this up there with the 14? I don't know. Let me try the 14 again. What? Last three. Oh, God. They're such different characters. This is so silky and delicate, and I love it, but I don't know. This might be right up there with it. I think it's right up there with it. 87 points. 87 points, a 4-point swing from the 14-month-old to the 23-month-old. And I'm going to stand by that. 87 points. So here are your winners. Single cask 14, single cask 3A. Behind that, you have got... well, I don't know how to... I'm still not sure how to distinguish between pluses and minuses, but you've got the single cask 20, 86 minus, the blend 3, 85 plus, and then the blend 4, the most amaro of the bunch, 85 points, and then the 14-month-old cask 3, 84. So, fun lineup. These folks do good stuff. Like, at the present moment, do I prefer their unaged bottlings? Yeah, I kind of do. But you can see, particularly with these two, the quality just climbing and climbing and climbing. So I would imagine once these reach like a considerable age, we're going to see Alambique Serranos at 4, 5, 6 years old start to surpass their younger colleagues. And that will be a fun day. Thanks for watching, and cheers. Where's the damn button?